On today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to service a HS45 hedge trimmer, and I'm also going to show you how to bend a blade back if you ever have one get bent.
Customer brought this in with the bent blade. Let me show you guys how to bend it back. First thing we're going to do is take off the bolts. I'll usually go about 3 sections down so that way I have enough clearance to work with the bend. Once I get the screws out, I'll go ahead and use something to keep that pried open so that way I can heat up the section that's bent. All you're going to need is a small hand torch, something to get the metal orange so that way it's bendable. Since the metal's thinner, it only usually takes about a minute to get it heated up enough where you can start to bend it. I try to heat up an area maybe about 1 inch wide so that way I got some flexibility there. Usually when they're bent, it's not just going to be in one small area. You're going to have a longer range to bend that whole section back. Just use a pair of pliers to bend the section back. Don't over bend it, otherwise you're going to have to end up bending it back the other way. So just do a little bend, check it, bend a little more, check it, and then eventually you get it to where it needs to be. And I keep heating this up the whole time to keep that metal pliable. Once I get everything bent back, I'll go ahead and reassemble the screws. Just make sure that you guys don't forget that washer that's inside the screws. That's going to help it reciprocate and stay aligned. And when you're tightening these down, make sure you guys don't over tighten them. If you tighten them too much, then the blades aren't going to slide back and forth. So I'm going to flip the unit over and check the spark arrestor here. That one does have some carbon buildup, so go ahead and torch that off to make sure it's able to breathe. Usually only takes about 10-15 seconds to get it heated up to orange. Just go over it really well, and then after you heat it, take a metal wire brush, scrape all that carbon off, and reinstall into your muffler. So the spark arrestor is going to be hot after you torch it up. I like to stick them on the end of my scrunch and then screw it in that way. Once I get it hand tight, then I'll go back with the other side of the scrunch and tighten it all the way. The next thing I'm going to do is take the grease box cover off. I'm going to inspect the blades, take out all the debris that's collected in there, and then I'm going to refill it with some fresh grease. I do realize that there is a grease zerk on the side of the unit, but I do want to take this cover off and inspect everything, clean out all the old grease before I refill it back up. So I use Stihl multi-lube to repack the grease in there. Here's a picture of what it looks like. You can get it at your local Stihl dealer. Here's the part number for reference. I am going to squeeze a little gear lube in here, and I'll show you guys how to use the port on the side as well. Here's a grease fill port right on the side of the gearbox. Just take that screw off, go ahead and screw in your tube, squeeze until you can't squeeze any more lubricant in there, and then it's all packed full. The next product I'm going to use is Stihl resin remover. You spray it on to lubricate your hedge trimmer blades, and it's going to keep the residue from sticking onto the blades, which will end up keeping your hedge trimmer blades sharper for longer. I highly recommend using it. Now I'm going to start the hedge trimmer up and make sure everything's working properly. I'm going to spray the resin remover on the top side of the blades. I'm going to run it for a minute, and then I'm going to flip it over and spray resin remover on the bottom side of the blades and do the same thing.
So just to recap what I did on the hedge trimmer, the customer originally brought it in because the bar was bent. I saved him $100 by being able to bend that back instead of replacing it. When it was in here, I also went ahead and did the service on the unit, checked the spark arrestor, cleaned that off. It had some carbon buildup. The air filter, fuel filter, spark plug all got replaced, and then I took the case cover off the gearbox, cleaned cleaned out the debris in there and repacked it with some new grease. I also went ahead and lubricated the bars after I went ahead and sharpened the cutting teeth on them. So pretty straightforward repairs and service on this hedge trimmer. It's good to go for the customer, so we're gonna give it back to him so he can get some more hedge trimming done. If you guys find this video helpful, make sure you guys like the video and also subscribe to my YouTube channel. Doing so will help me get my content out there for other people, and I'll show you guys all the service repairs that come into our shop. Have a good one.